It's your boy Jackson here, bringing you another fixed gear tutorial. And today I wanted to take it all the way back to the basics and teach you how to go through tires faster than ever with skids on a fixed gear. Mountain bikers do it, cyclocross dudes do it, but fixies, we did it first. We made the skid cool. The skid, it's probably one of the most iconic things you could do on a fixed gear. Mash SF, Macaframa, think of all these dudes ripping down steep hills, whipping skids out. Why are skids so cool on a fixed gear? As I'm sure most of you know, your pedals control the back wheel. The regular bike, you're gonna be skidding with your back brake. On a fixed gear, you're fully controlling your back wheel with your pedals and sliding around, burning rubber, baby. It's fun. It can be a little out of control at times. If you're riding brakeless, it's one of the few ways that you can stop on a fixed gear. Regardless of whether you ride with brakes or not, you should definitely at least know how to skid and impress all your friends out there. Before we get into the tutorial, let's talk about what you need first. First thing you're gonna need is a fixed gear, and it doesn't matter if it has brakes or if it's brakeless. You should always ride the bike that you feel safest on, you feel most comfortable with. Certainly don't advise people to go out there and take off their brakes, even if you know how to skid really well. Always be safe. And on that topic, you should probably wear a helmet.
Hey, check it out, it's me. I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer here because there's probably gonna be a lot of new riders who are watching this video. Fixed gears are definitely dangerous. Make sure that you're following all of your local laws with brakes, helmets, and most of all, just stay safe, use common sense, ride to your abilities, and have fun.
Next thing you're gonna need is a good pair of straps. So I always recommend straps over clipless or cages. They give you way better leverage than cages. Me personally, my feet are like too big for cages, so when I'm like trying to pull up, I'm literally using my toe strength to try to stop the wheel, and that just doesn't work very well. Get a good pair of straps you can use with the leverage of like your whole foot. If you're learning how to skid, you definitely don't want to be on clipless pedals. You run the risk of popping out, especially if you whip your skid to one side or the other. Stay tuned to the end of the video. I'll tell you guys a little story about how I don't want to say almost died because that sounds too dramatic, but a really scary experience I had riding clipless pedals. So stick around for that. You're gonna want BMX platform pedals, plastic preferably, good chain tension. If your chain's, slack, you got play in it, it's gonna be a little bit weird, like, a little bit of up and down action. You don't want to break it. You're going to want to have a pretty high PSI when you're doing skids. If your tire pressure is really low, your tire is going to grip the ground really, really well. It makes skidding actually a lot harder. So make sure it's, pretty high. You're going to want to learn how to skid in a nice wide open space, somewhere you can get a good amount of speed. You should try to learn on smooth asphalt. That's what most streets are made of. Maybe not smooth, but asphalt, so you can kind of learn the consistency. Another reason for smooth parking lot is you're going to go through tires a lot less. A lot of people ask me what tire I have, and I actually don't even know, so let's go check it out. This is a new tire, but this is what's on my bike right now, and it's the Schwalbe Lugano 700 by 23C. Personally, I prefer 25C better. If you've seen either my Constantine or my Rough Bike co-edits, which if you haven't, go check those out. I do a lot of skid tricks. I like skid tricks. Honestly, I just buy the cheapest tires. To me, it's not worth it to spend $50 on a gator skin to get, a couple millimeters more of rubber. Just get whatever you can at the bike shop. Replace them when I need to, when I start to see some threads. Make sure you do that as well. But yeah, you want to be really careful of that, because if you're doing a skid, you're going down a hill, you rip through the tire, you'll pop your tube instantly, and then you could be, riding down a hill pretty fast on a flat tire. I've had it happen to me, and it's really scary. Throughout the history of fixed gear, we've had a lot of different bars go in and out of style. I'm really glad 1-inch wide bars are done, because that was ridiculous. Personally, I ride with flat or riser bars just because I think they're comfy, but there can be some advantages to riding with bull horns or pursuit bars. They're not super popular anymore these days. I think they can actually help you skid a little bit easier. You can put more of your weight over the front end of the bike. You can always find some old drop bars and chop them and flip them upside down. There's been a lot of questions about, is this gear ratio good? It's all about what you feel comfortable with. There's no magic number of teeth. Personally, I ride 46/16, which is 2 teeth less than the stock bike 48/16. I don't remember my gear inches right now, but you can look that up on Sheldon Brown's gear calculator. RIP, legend. So I think that's everything you need. Let's get into the actual tutorial. The first thing you're going to want to think about is your speed. Too fast, it's going to be too hard to slow your pedals down to do a skid. If you're going too slow, you're not really gonna have any momentum to slide. A good, comfortable speed. Don't go faster than you feel comfortable. The next thing that you're gonna wanna be thinking about is your pedal stroke. Your dominant foot is your forward foot. You'll have a foot that you like to have forward more than the other. Sort of like skateboarding, you're either goofy or you're regular, but as soon as you hop on a skateboard, you figure it out. As soon as you start skidding, you kind of figure out which your dominant foot is. Keep that in the back of your brain. That way you can set up for your pedal strokes a little bit better. Let's talk about how to initiate the skid. To start a skid, you're basically gonna try to stop your pedals, and the optimal place to do that is when your pedals are between flat and about 45 degrees-ish. I remember when I first learned how to skid, I had Parker try to teach me, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And I went to go do the skid with all of my might, used all the muscles in my body, and I just couldn't do it. It's one of those things that can take some practice. At first, it's gonna seem really hard. You're not gonna be sure of which muscles to use. Once you get into it and you learn how to actually do the move, it's gonna get really easy, and you're gonna do it without thinking about it. What you're gonna be doing is lifting up on your front foot. That's where a good strap comes in handy because you want all the leverage you can get. And on your back foot, you're gonna be pushing down. So you're basically resisting the pedals going forward as hard as you can. When your feet are level to about 45 degrees, that's when you're gonna have the most leverage to stop the wheel. The other thing that's gonna be going on when you do a skid is you're gonna be up out of the saddle. You can't do a skid while you're sitting down. I mean, you can do a skid sitting down, but it's really, really hard. Another thing that you can try to make skidding a lot easier is getting more of your weight from the back end of the bike to the front end of the bike. And when there's less weight on your back wheel, it's easier to engage a skid. And this is why you see a lot of people do the infamous fixed gear crushed stem skid. I kind of cringe when I see people do this. It's not very stylish. A lot of people learn to skid this way. The pros is it's honestly a lot easier to skid. The con is that you have very little control of your bike at that point. You're in an awkward position. You're weighted heavily over the front wheel, so if you hit anything, you're likely to go over. Your back wheel is also so unweighted that it can swivel around, which could be cool, but if something goes wrong, you're gonna topple over the bike a lot easier. But if you're having a hard time learning to skid, this could be, a good entry. If you're doing it, you're basically gonna be putting your full body weight over the front end of the bike. You're like doing this weird move with your crotch all the way up against your stem. Also, that could really hurt if you fall on that. That's not a good place to have your pursuit bars, and bullhorns can help you with this because your hands are going to be even further out and not like pressed up against your body. But yeah, you might want to give it a try. I definitely advise you to try to keep a more natural bike position as you progress. If you're having trouble holding the skid, you might want to go a little bit faster. The only other thing that I can think of to talk about is doing whip skids. Whips are just kicking out your rear end a little bit. It's stylish. This is where knowing your dominant foot can come in handy. You're always going to be whipping out let me think about how to word this. So I'm right foot forward and I whip to the right. And if I do a switch skid, and a switch skid, if you guys don't know, is where you do a skid with your opposite foot forward, I'm gonna whip to the left. It kind of happens naturally, but you can kind of keep that in mind. Pretty self-explanatory. Once you get comfortable with skids, you can try those out. Once you learn how to skid, there's lots of cool things you can do with it. I personally love skid 180s, one of my favorite tricks. I'm gonna plug it again, but if you haven't seen my edit for Constantine or Rough Bike Co, they're in the description, go check them out. If you're doing whip skids, the next thing you might wanna learn is how to do a switch skid, which is basically, relearning the trick all over again. It's like riding with your left hand if you're right-handed. That's pretty much what a skid is. Oh, story time. So I was doing an alley cat race, I think I was in high school, and I decided to borrow my dad's mountain bike clipless pedals for the race because I heard it was gonna be long and I wanted to be fast. I hadn't ridden them before the race. Not a great idea. So we had to go up this gnarly hill, stop at this house, eat a vegan ice cream sandwich, and then ride back down the hill. It had a 4-way stop at the bottom. It's kind of an iconic hill. We've bombed it a bunch of times, in a lot of the FOAD videos. I'll play a clip here. Missed him completely. And it's a 4-way stop, which, it's a little bit safer than running a regular stop sign, but you don't know the timing going into the hill. I'm coming down the hill, I see that there's a car stopped at the stop sign when I'm about 30 feet away, which is not good timing for me. It's already stopped, it's gonna go right as I'm coming down into the intersection. So I'm coming down and I try to bust a skid and my foot pops off. And I'm going down the hill, bouncing up and down on my pedals 1 foot off, and now I cannot skid. I probably should have done a 10 shred to stop. I didn't have enough time to react. I can't remember if I went in front of it or if I went behind it. Luckily, I didn't die because that would have been a really bad accident, and I was cruising really fast. It's kind of a reason that if you're not experienced, you don't have your equipment dialed, you shouldn't ride clipless pedals. I hope this tutorial was helpful. If you have any comments, drop them below. Let me know what tutorial you want me to do next. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, link is in the description. And if you like what I'm wearing today, this is full FOAD gear, hats, shirts, hoodies. Go check out FOADgang.com or FOAD. There's no way to say it. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next tutorial. Peace out.